Ringo Starr actually narrate Thomas the Tank Engine?
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually amazing.
It's like, what else would you do? You form a Beatle. I guess I'll narrate Thomas the Tank Engine. So it was like the Fat Controller. It's like so good, so good.
I mean, it could be worse because I mean, Thomas the Tank Engine is beloved. It's been a long time to. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the show's still ongoing, right? Maybe in a different.
I think so.
format.
Yeah, probably in 3D, like animated 3D, not the actual physical trains.
Yeah, welcome to the Thomas the Tank Engine podcast.
Yeah, the number one Thomas the Tank Engine podcast. For your fans. There's actually did you see actually what they did to Bob the Builder? They made into some kind of like that weird 3D animation. It's kind of like very ugly looking.
Man, they're doing it to everything. Look, realistically, I kind of understand why they're doing it. It's cheaper. It's more cost effective.
And the kids love the 3D.
No, I don't agree. I don't think the kids do like the 3D.
Do
I
they?
think, no, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not a kid anymore. But I mean, okay, by comparison, there was like a 3D Ninja Turtles that came out.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't like that at all. But by comparison, I think the 2003 series maybe it was.
It was like 2004.
Something like that.
That was like the edgy emo days of the Ninja Turtles. Technically, which is back in the day, the original concept of what do you call it? Thingamajiggy. Ninja Turtles was like a gritty drama, like a gritty hardcore crime thing. And then when it came to the cartoon, they made it very kid friendly, and that's what it is now.
Oh yeah, pizzas everywhere,
and Tovies and stuff. There's actually There's actually a really cool. I think it was a movie, and it was like a turtle. It's like not Turtles in Time because that's the 3D like Ninja Turtles 3.
The game, yeah.
No, but there was one where it was animated, and it had all the generations of the Ninja Turtles animated. So it had the 80s version, and then it had the early 2000s version, and then the original cartoon version. It was like this weird mix of like a extended universe type of thing, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And
I think it was like a special because I'm pretty sure the 2004 series it's like finale or something like that had them teaming up with the old Ninja Turtles cartoon Ninja Turtles as well. So yeah, but we don't get that anymore. I mean, it's very rare to have like
a crossover.
Good quality animation. When it comes to like, I guess, like beloved series, right? Just because 3D is easier. It's easier to make things in 3D. I think 3D is fine. I
thought it was a lot. Yeah, it's easy to make things in 3D. That's why they churn out a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, as opposed to, I remember there was like a Batman 3D series that they made. I forget what it's actually called. But,
probably no one watched it, right? Have you watched Justice League Action at all?
Yeah, I actually have.
That's good. It's like 15 minutes per episode, 12 minutes, and it's just like extends the whole universe, and you just get to know these little characters and their little cool situation. Like,
I just like the fact that they look like how they used to, and all the changes in it's pretty. I don't mind how Wonder Woman looks either. I think there was some people were like, I don't like how Wonder Woman looks, but I thought it was fine. It's more like, the demographic is more towards the Teen Titans Go watches, but I think it's still good quality cartoons.
No, that's the thing. DC just churns these out in comparison to, I guess, Marvel. Like, Marvel doesn't really do anything like this. Like, they do, but it's it's not as, I guess, praised or even well known. I guess. I feel like it's very that's because that's the thing. Warner Brothers has the pedigree. Ever since the 90's. So you had the Batman animated series, of course, but you had stuff like Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. Obviously, since it's Warner Brothers, they have Bugs Bunny and everything like that. So they're constantly doing stuff with 2D animation and things like that. And I feel for Marvel in general, doesn't really do much with that whole medium.
I mean, I think a really good Marvel TV series that's akin to having good quality animation, good story I think it was called S Mightiest Heroes, which I think eventually turned into another series called Avengers Assembled, but the Avengers Assembled series became a little bit more generic and cookie cutter in terms of like what Marvel is doing like with their movies. Again, bit of a bias here, but I really like their older animation and their older TV shows like Spider-Man the animated series.
Obviously the two X-Men ones. So it was the one in the 90s, and I think it was like X-Men Evolution. I think that was.
Yeah.
I remember watching that as a kid, and that was my jam, and it was just like that was kind of my X-Men love. That's why I like.
Do you remember the old Iron Man TV series?
No, I think I've heard of it. I think it's one of those things where I've never, been a part of it, but for some reason I just know.
I remember like when the first Iron Man movie came out, I felt, I really like, I think a lot of people, they really liked it, but I think it was like only after then that I realized, I actually watched, I've heard of Iron Man before, and it was like, because, the people were showing around like the old TV series, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this one episode. It was very vague. I watched it when I was really young, but like Marvel was pretty good. I think like the animation stuff has been pretty like meh as of recently. Spectacular Spider-Man is another one that's another TV series that's really good. But that was also cut short due to, I think, Disney acquiring Marvel, so they just kind of canceled it.
I think I heard about that. There was like some random YouTube video, and it was talking about, I don't know, this guy was like, he was obsessed with cartoons, and he had a whole compilation of like cartoon episodes that we won't see, or like lost episodes, and one of them was like, I think it was that Spider-Man thing, and before they acquired the rights, there was going to be this big massive arc. It got to do with, I think, Doc Ock or someone, really big villain, and or it was like the Vulture or something, and then it got cut in half or something like that, and a lot of it doesn't really make any sense. So he was talking about stuff like that. I actually find that stuff very interesting, because like a few years back, I had this weird thing in my mind where I'm like, remember all those old cartoons? I can't really buy them, and I don't know where they are. So for like self-preservation, I'm trying to keep it as much as possible. So I wrote down this whole list of things where I'm like, oh shit, like I remember watching this, but I can't find like all the episodes of this. Like there was like an episode, there was a TV show, like, I don't know, Magic School Bus is pretty easy to get, but there's stuff like Gargoyles that was kind of hard to get.
Gargoyles.
I remember Pepper Ann. That was a weird one. I know.
Yeah. It's like the same people who made like Doug, right?
Yeah, like it was the Disney Channel. There's a few shows like that. Like Nickelodeon's good because they actually released all of them at some point. So Our Real Monsters and Hey Arnold. But a lot of the other stuff, like a lot of the Disney stuff, is pretty much just gone. The only thing that really persists is DuckTales, and I'm actually watching the new DuckTales TV show at the moment, and it's actually really good. Like it's very modern, because it's very modern in the take of something like Rick and Morty, where it plays on your expectations. Like the writers of the show are fans of the old show, and they know what's up. So like they're just like, oh, I'm gonna do this, like, oh, just like in before, and then they just invert your expectations. You're like, okay, didn't expect that. So it's, once again, new DuckTales. I really like the style. It's in 2D animation, so it's traditional, and it's DuckTales. I'm hoping that they have an episode on the moon, so it copies the game and has the moon theme from the game.
The moon theme, yeah.
My God, that moon theme is so good. So
yeah, it's a pretty good theme. Yeah, no, I've heard good things about DuckTales. I haven't actually watched any of the older stuff at all, so I haven't really been tempted. But yeah, I've heard good things about the new series. Do you remember SWAT Cats at all?
I've heard the name. I have heard that name before.
It's literally a bunch of cats that fly planes. It's actually an amazing show. I've got it, and yeah.
Well, what is it like? So it's just a normal animation. So it's not like Disney. Like, is it Disney animation, or like just? Because that sounds very like anime like. Because I know there's like that there's Samurai Pizza Cats, but I know that's anime.
No. This is definitely like a Western cartoon. It's like there are a bunch of like anthropomorphic cats that I think they were mechanics, and then like on their off hours they're also like SWAT cats. They like fly planes. They fly this like I guess like a jet. So actually, I'll look it up. SWAT cats. It's really cool, man.
Oh yeah, Once again, I've got this list in front of me of things I still haven't even downloaded yet. I remember liking Atomic Betty. That was alright. I still haven't downloaded Kim Possible.
Oh yeah, Kim Possible.
Jackie Chan's Adventures.
Jackie Chan, I love Jackie Chan's Adventures.
Yeah. I love Jackie Chan. Like, there's Sabrina the Teenage Witch actually had a TV show. I remember that.
Yeah. I do also remember that too. Also, so the SWAT Cats is Hanna-Barbera.
Okay. Yeah. Because so what? The Flintstones, Jetsons, that
Yeah.
wheelhouse of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like necessarily in canon with like any of that stuff necessarily, but just like, oh, it's made by that production. Whereas like something like, I guess, Flintstones and Jetsons are all in like one kind of universe, so to speak. But yeah, it's like 23 episodes, I think. Yeah, it's good stuff. Also, yeah, you know what? Speaking of, older cartoons, like Powerpuff Girls also had a bit of a revive recently, but I don't think it's been doing as hot as the older stuff.
Man's not hot. Sorry,
not hot.
It's the meme. Yeah, that's so going to be dated if anyone listens to this back in the day. They're like, what the hell are they talking about? I don't know. I remember I was kind of a fan in the early days of Powerpuff Girls, and then they had that weird animated, like the anime looking one. I never watched that.
Surprisingly, apparently that did really well in Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, because Japan like things that are cute. Like you make anything look cute, they'll like it. You know.
Yeah, you put anime girls, they'll like it.
Yeah, because they got powers and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I haven't watched any of that. That's the thing. I think cartoons have really taken a revival, especially with it's not just like kid stuff, but normal like stuff for, I guess, adults. So obviously Rick and Morty's definitely not for kids, but there are certain things where you can be like, it's for kids and it's kind of for this. Like DuckTales is pretty good in that respect. I heard Steven Universe is okay, but I'm not a fan of that, and I don't want to ever talk about that show ever. So
okay, I to be honest, I know only a little bit of, but like, I mean, it's like similar to shows like Adventure Time, right? I'm assuming.
Well, that's the thing. Adventure, yeah, it's kind of, but like, I don't know, like it's. Like, I watched only, like, about 20 episodes, and I'm just like, I can kind of get the appeal, but I just don't want to watch it, and it's just like, no, okay. It's just not my thing. Especially since I've done my research, and apparently the fan base of this show is, insanely toxic. Like, okay. They will kill you toxic, like.
Oh, they'll kill you. Well.
No. Have you heard any of the controversies surrounding the show?
No, I haven't.
Well, there's one where someone drew a fan art of, this one character in the show that's kind of like, I guess, fat-ish, plump, and in the fan art, they drew him skinny, and this girl got a lot of hate mail, a lot of abuse, and she nearly killed herself because the fans are just like, man, you're not drawing a fat woman, and, she nearly killed herself because of that, and,
no.
And that's only one thing. There's multiple things where it's just like, there's supposed to be a same-sex relationship, and then, in the end, they didn't get together, and then it's like, oh, why are you doing that for? Like, once again, weird fan base where they force even the creators and the writers of the show to, bend to what they think the show is. And, yeah, it's kind of effed up. At least Rick and Morty fans just go crazy over Source.
Yeah, and think that, well, to be honest, you need a high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. So,
it's more sophisticated, like.
Let
me talk to you about nihilism and what the deeper meaning behind the show.
I love it. Like, I do like, despite liking Rick and Morty, I do like this kind of, almost like, kind of like a counterculture to, like, not necessarily dislike Rick and Morty, but kind of like, almost like make people a little bit more like self-aware that, maybe be a little bit more humble about watching a cartoon show. But yeah, like in regards to the whole, Steven Universe thing, like, yeah, that kind of sounds really horrible. Like, I can understand, like, people wanting, their characters to look a certain way, and, it's kind of typical of like shows kind of teasing relationships, like, I'm sure they do it in, like Riverdale, they do it all the time, but like, are they, aren't they? But, it doesn't really justify, I mean, I guess death threats, maybe, if that, is that what kind of led to her, like, wanting to commit suicide? I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's weird things. Horrible. But yeah, once again, Riverdale well, that's the thing,